Hello everyone, I'm back. So for all you viewers who've been awaiting a new video from me, I'm back. So on another note, let's get down to business here. I'm making a video here in response to those who believe in the notion of true force loneliness. Now, if you're expecting a video using purely objective evidence as reasoning, then you're in the wrong place, and I'll post a link in the description of someone who's far more objective in addressing this issue than I am. However, I still felt that I needed to express my ideas on this notion, so this is why I am here. Also, if you do believe in this notion and you're looking for a video expressing sympathy, you're in the wrong place, people. So, I'm going to start by saying that the concept of true force loneliness, or TFL for short, is a notion that the dating scene is rigged towards female superiority, and that women have all the control over relationships. I think this is a flawed notion and a conspiracy theory myself, and I'm going to start by saying why I think so. So, first of all, most of these people are male, and most of them have found themselves unsuccessful in relationships, and I can relate to that a little bit because I have asked out women on dates in the past and have only ever been rejected. I've only asked 3 women out on a date, and after that I didn't really see the reason to ask any other women on dates, so I haven't done so. However, I will analyze myself as a case study in why these relationships did not form as I wanted and maybe unreasonably expected to. So I'll start by saying that all these women I asked on dates were back in high school during grade 11. I have now just finished my first year of college, and I'm turning 19 in August, and up to this point I have not had any romantic relationships yet. But I do not see a reason why I couldn't in the future. I've never really had a relationship up until this point, and I don't believe this is because there is some sort of social injustice restricting me from doing so. I just think that circumstantially that's just how things have worked out so far. Now back to the story of me in grade 11, when the only time in my life when I have asked women on dates. Now, all the women I chose to ask on dates, or I guess they were more accurately girls, since they were, between 14 and 16 years of age. I'm not going to give any more details than that. I do not want to incriminate them in any way. But the problem with it was there was just such a barrier in social status. I mean, I was kind of an antisocial, well, not completely antisocial, but socially awkward nerd who is unpopular and in sort of an outcast group, like one of the fringe groups of nerds that would kind of sit together during lunchtime and would just boisterously laugh at their own stupid jokes and that kind of thing. And they all happen to be very popular, very well known among their own social circles, and they were essentially just much more popular than me. They didn't really share the same interests as me. So part of the problem was just a lack of compatibility there, and I think that's what ultimately killed any chance of me forming a relationship with these people. Is just I was too different from them, and I accept that, and I do not think they owed me a relationship. That's a very unfair way of thinking, because it sort of objectifies them and gets rid of their free will. In other words, nobody owes you a relationship, because it would depend on them, it would depend on them having no other, theoretically it would be predicated on the notion that they would have no choice in a relationship with you, it would just be mandatory, and that I think that's wrong. I think relationships, for the most part, are formed on the basis of mutual benefit. In other words, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. I mean, I think that's why relationships form, and that's especially prevalent in the sexual component of romantic relationships, because if one member is dissatisfied, then that's in bed, so to speak. That's going to negatively affect the relationship, obviously. I'm saying this based on anecdotal evidence from others. I'm not going to mention who these people are. I don't think that's fair. But yeah, and in other aspects, if one person is providing benefit for the other but is not getting any benefit in return, or the other person is even being a burden on them despite receiving benefit from the other member within the relationship, then the relationship's going to be unhealthy, because the one person isn't really getting anything out of it. Now, I think it's fair to say that there are I need to clear my head and get back on track here. In terms of actual attraction, many of you people seem to think that women are almost universally shallow and form relationships based on trivial objective characteristics such as physical appearance or monetary status, but to a certain extent, such things as these would form an unnecessary burden on them, would put an unnecessary burden on them in the relationship. And also, I think it's very hypocritical, because some of the members of the True Force Loneliness, such as Steve Hoka, have implied that they feel entitled to a person that they find very physically attractive, or even flawlessly physically attractive. Now, I think this is a flawed concept, because even though in the ideal relationship both members would be entirely physically attracted to the other member and would not find anything physically repulsive about the other member, but that's really an unfair thing to expect. It's unfair to expect complete bliss in a relationship, and I think that's completely unfair. And if you want to personally champion not being shallow, then try not to pay attention to the physical appearance of other women, and try to judge them based on their non-physical merits, such as their morals or their abilities, and talents. I think that's a better way to go, and that's a better way to ensure your compatibility with them on a social level as opposed to a purely physical level, even though I do think that should be a component of the relationship as well. And you should try to realize that if you find them, and that if they find you unattractive, that is going to negatively impact that component. And if you're really so self-conscious about your own physical appearance, then if you're morbidly obese, start running or something, because even if you choose not to form a relationship, having a body habitus like that is already posing a negative impact on your health and even your daily life. Like, if you can't walk to the corner store, that can be a problem. And if you can't walk up a few flights of stairs at a certain building, or if you can't go for a hike, or if you can't play a recreational game of basketball, for instance, some women are going to be turned off by this, because your actual physical being is an impediment to activities that you can do. a large number of activities that are very common, and they're not going to like this. They're not going to like the undue, even if they're not shallow, they're not going to like the undue burden that your own physical being is placing on the relationship. So if you want to make yourself more appealing, then do it. And if you want to make yourself more appealing from a mental point of view, stop subscribing to this damn conspiracy theory of true force loneliness. It's just killing, it's just completely illogical. And also that bitterness you have towards women that I think is unfair is projecting upon your personality negatively, and it's people are not going to be attracted to that bitterness, and so I think you need to try to correct that. Try to be more upbeat, and if you have physical tics like I kind of do with all the fidgeting and shit, maybe try to control that a little bit more. And if you can't control that, then just be upfront about that. And if people and maybe be a little bit explanatory about that, like just maybe explain to people, oh, I'm a very fidgety person, it's just kind of who I am, and just roll with that. And also, nobody owes you a relationship, guys. Relationships are formed based on an ability to see a mutual benefit in other, and I've stated this before. It's unfair to think that people owe you a relationship, because it trivializes and it de-emphasizes their own free will, and I really don't like that. That's cruel to think that someone would owe you a relationship, and it's unfair. But if you guys want to solve your problems and make yourself more attractive, you probably will have a better chance of forming a relationship, because these people will see you as more attractive and as posing a greater benefit to them if they were to form a relationship with you. And in return, they're likely to do things for you too, and provide you with the beneficial aspects of themselves. Like if you do things for them, they'll probably do things for you in return. That's how most people like to operate. Most people have morals that guide themselves that way. Anyway, I think I'm going to get going, because I think I've said all that I can really say about this issue. And Harry Cock for the win, signing out.